Thank you for joining us today. My name is Beth Gaddis, and it's my pleasure to introduce my colleague, Marie Birch, who will be our host today. Marie was a call center supervisor for a dental group in Florida and used patient prism for 2 years before joining our team.
Thank you, Beth, for the great introduction. My name is Marie Birch, and I'm a client success coordinator for Patient Prism and Patient Prism Academy. And I'm so grateful to be a part of this. I love to be a part of bringing value to the receptionists, to the people that are actually answering the calls. And Patient Prism was certainly instrumental for me as a user to provide me a great way to handle calls. Not only that, but a great way to handle follow-up calls as well. So I'm super excited to be a part of this and hope that you'll all enjoy the presentation.
So we have here today, we've chosen 5 phone calls. These are real phone calls. The only thing that we have done is revoice them and change the name of the dental practice. But what they actually say between the receptionist and the caller is exactly what happened on the original phone calls. So we wanted to go ahead and showcase these calls for you today and talk through best practices and how you can convert more callers like this one that might be coming into your practice.
Good afternoon. Thank you for calling Smile 123. This is Susan. How may I help you?
How are you, Susan?
Good.
I had a question. I don't have any dental insurance, but I'm having an ache on one tooth. Do you guys just work with that one tooth, or do I have to get a whole exam? And how does that work?
No, you can just come in for that one exam. We do have a special for $49. We would do an exam of the area that you're concerned about.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can go from there, We can see what's going on and maybe possibly give you a referral, depending on exactly what the problem is.
Okay. How long is this special for?
Well, it's been a while, so I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Goodbye.
Okay, so on this first call, certainly the first thing that I always do before making a follow-up call is to take the time to review the feedback that's been provided by our coaches. In this case, they did, let me know that when the patient asked how we were doing, that would have been a great time to have started a connection with that patient. Asking them how great has their day been. And so that's always great to establish very beginning of the conversation. And here they tell us to make sure that we're expressing sympathy for the toothache, which is an amazing way to set urgency on that call and to let that patient know we need to get them in right away. If they're already in pain, we want to make sure that they are seen as soon as possible to avoid any further pain. And here to certainly let the patient know that we're going to take great care of them. I think the coach is right. Here it says don't mention a potential referral service, until you know what the patient needs. I think that would deter the patient. We want that patient to know that no matter what their needs are, that we're the practice that's going to take care of them and whatever is necessary for that patient. And then certainly our tip note, reminds us that it's a great way to help patients concerned with cost. We want to redirect that question back into scheduling a day and a time. We should always, as a receptionist, that should always be our next statement. Anytime they have a question, we should answer that question as briefly as possible and always go back to, great, let's get you scheduled.
Maria, it's really something that we hear a lot on the more than 3 billion phone calls now that we've analyzed. And that is making sure that the people who are answering the phone, whether they might be an agent at a call center, they might be a receptionist, they might be an answering service, but that anybody who's answering the phone is very familiar with any special offers that your office might be having available to people who don't have insurance. And that's one of those things that can be done as simply as having a cheat sheet at the phones for everybody who's answering calls that just says what your monthly specials are, who they are applicable for, so they have that information right there. Many of the callers we know, they are concerned about cost, and they might have found you on the website, they might have seen a Google ad for you that's mentioning a special offer, and they want to make sure that that's available to them still.
Absolutely. That's actually a great idea. I always had a notepad, beside my desk, just for those instances. We just want the patient to know that they've called the right place, and that whatever their needs are, we're going to take care of them. Even in this case, if this patient had to be referred out, that's something that the doctor would discuss with that patient. And to set value on that special. Not to let the patient know that it's been around for a long time, so we don't see it going anywhere. We want to set value to that. Ma'am, we have created this special for patients just like you. Make the patient feel special, and so that's absolutely a great suggestion, Beth.
It's such an easy one to implement. It's just making sure that everything that your office is offering to the new patient has been communicated to everybody.
Absolutely. And then certainly the other thing that, was always very helpful to me are the training videos that are attached. And so after reviewing the feedback, I would always go and review the training videos that are attached. And this is a great way to prepare you for that follow-up call. In fact, I am going to play one of those videos for all of you, just so that you can see for yourself really how exceptional these videos are and how instrumental they are with setting you up for success.
Whenever you meet someone new, it's critical to turn that stranger into a friend. This is what we call building rapport. There's a couple simple tips that you can use every single day or every single time you talk to someone to make sure you're connecting with that individual. First of all, know who you're talking to, know their name. You don't need to jump straight to their insurance or other information. Just know who you're talking to. And then you want to follow up, and you want to be an active listener. This means acknowledging when they say something, but not interrupting. It is so easy to start interrupting and asking the next question before they can get out their thought. There's some value in actually waiting after they finish a phrase and listening for just a moment. This is a great active listening skill, as well as adding affirmation and words as they're speaking that aren't interrupting. You also want to rephrase what your patient said. So once they've said, hey, this is what's hurting, you can say that back to them. It's sort of like going to a drive-thru. The good drive-thrus like Starbucks, they'll actually reiterate your grande double chai, skinny latte with foam, whatever you get. They're going to reiterate that to make sure that they didn't skip one of the very important details to make your drink absolutely perfect with that cinnamon sprinkle on top. And then finally, you want to give them your full attention. It's easy, especially when you're answering the phone, to be on your computer or have someone walk in the office and you get sidetracked. And someone can tell when you're sidetracked on the phone. You can do the or you stop smiling and they can hear that in your voice and it gets a little more mellow. You want to make sure that you're giving them 100% of your attention so that you can engage them. These are all some great practical tips to make sure that you turn that stranger, that person you've never met before, into a friend.
And I just think that represents the training videos very well. Ryan made really good points there. Patients need us to be attentive to them. They want to know that we're listening. They're looking for that relationship. I think that most people that call a dental practice, they're uncomfortable. They're, a little nervous about it. And so it's really important as a receptionist on that very first initial call that we make that connection and that we let that patient know that they've called the right practice.
Well, the other thing that's really important, I see the training video there, let's get you scheduled, is that nobody calls the dental practice just to chit chat. They're calling because they have a need and they've chosen your practice to reach out to. And so always end the call by saying, reiterating that you have a great team, they have a great doctor, and that you can't wait to help them with whatever they called you about today. And that let's get you scheduled. You have found, Marie, in doing this for so many years, that if you offer them a morning appointment or an afternoon appointment, as opposed to saying, would you like to schedule an appointment, that you have much greater success. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. It was a best practice for me to ask that patient, I've got Tuesday at 2 or I've got Thursday at 4, which would work best for you. And then, get it narrowed down from there. Sometimes the patient will reveal that mornings are best. And so I would offer 2 morning appointments. I talk about that notebook. I always had the appointments for today, tomorrow, and the next day. Those were always my focus. And so before I even started my day, I would have those time slots available on my little cheat sheet beside my desk. And so it was an easy reference for me. And very quickly, I could make those appointments priority, start with them. Once they're filled, I could go on to the next available date and time.
All right, so you're getting ready for the next phone call. We do have a question that came in about, can we access the training videos anywhere other than in the actual call? And the answer is yes. So we have Patient Prism Academy. It is a separate website. We'll go to it actually at the end of this training webinar and show you. But every single person in your practice, your hygienist, your dental assistant, your dentist, your insurance coordinators, every single member of your dental practice can have access to Patient Prism Academy. That has more than 900 plus videos from all of these different experts from around the country that have shared their knowledge with us. And so that's going to be another great way for you and your team to view these different training videos that we have.
Absolutely. And certainly on this follow-up call, if I were the one making the call, it would sound something like this. Good morning, ma'am. My name is Al Marie. I'm calling from Smile 123. I know that you called the office and spoke to my colleague, and she told me about a toothache. We discussed that with the doctor, and we're all very concerned about you being in pain. We feel like we should get you in right away. That way we can avoid any additional pain, any pain getting worse. And so we have an appointment available this afternoon or first thing tomorrow morning, which would work best for you.
Very simple.
Very simple. All right, and we'll move on to the next call.
Thank you for calling Smile 123. Susan speaking. How may I help you?
Hello. I want to ask you a question. Do you have any new patient payment specials?
Say that again?
New patient cleaning specials?
Well, we can give you a new patient exam. We wouldn't know what type of cleaning you can have until you have an appointment. So the first visit would be an exam and x-ray, because we would have to. Do your probing and your x-rays to see if you have any infection underneath the gum line. And if not, then we can go ahead and do your cleaning. But we won't be able to give you a price until you actually have an appointment.
But a cleaning won't be the same day?
Yeah. A lot of times we're able to do a cleaning on the same day. We don't say we won't be able to. It's just going to depend on if you want to pay for the price, and we'll go over the cost with you, things like that. So we will have to do your exam first.
Okay, and how much is that?
We have a special for $49, and we also have a discount plan. It gives you up to 20% off for treatment.
All right, but the cleaning, how much is the cleaning?
Again, we won't know. We don't go over prices over the phone because we don't know what type of cleaning you can have.
I gotcha.
Uh-huh.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So certainly this call to me, speaks volumes about yes service. We want to be very careful with a patient to not focus on what we cannot do, but rather what we can do. And so, if I was going to make this call back to this patient, it would sound something like this. Sir, my name is Al Marie. I'm calling from Smile 123, and I know that you called the practice about an hour ago asking about a new patient cleaning special. And I've checked into this for you, and we do have a special. We'd like to go ahead and get you scheduled. We think that you're going to love our doctors and our facility, and we're so grateful that you chose us for your dental home. I do have several appointments available. I have this afternoon at 4, tomorrow at 3. Which of those would work best for you? In this instance, like I said, the yes service is very important. We don't want to deter the patient. Clearly, he's asking about that, the cleaning special. And so we want to let him know, yes, sir, we're going to take great care of you. Come in, we're going to do, your exam and your x-ray. And I'll make sure to schedule you on a day where there's some additional time for that cleaning that day. Super important, because just like Beth said, when the patient calls the practice, there is a need. It's our job to find out what that need is. And clearly this gentleman was very interested in the cleaning.
And I feel like this topic has come up an awful lot over the last few years. As we know that half of the people in the country, have some kind of perio problem. So you might not be able to do a pro-feed cleaning. They might need a deep cleaning with scaling and root planing. And I understand what the receptionist was trying to do here by setting that expectation that they might not be able to do the healthy mouth cleaning based on what their needs are. But there are different ways to phrase that. And I believe that in this particular call, one of the training videos that we attached is one from Rachel Wall, who's the founder of Inspired Hygiene. And it's truly giving receptionists verbiage to use in this particular situation when the caller is asking for hygiene on the first visit, and the answer is, maybe. How do you phrase that in a positive way? So if this is something that comes up in one of your calls in the future, look for that video to be applied. And then it's also available on Patient Prism Academy.
All right, we'll move on to the next call.
It's Smiles and Orthodontics. My name is Kristen. How may I help you?
Hi, I wanted to see how much I would be charged for a new patient to be seen.
Okay. How old is the patient now?
He's 4.
4 years old? Okay, let me check it out right quick. Okay. All right, so you'd be looking at starting at pretty roughly $144.50.
Okay, thank you. I'll call back.
Okay, no worries. I mean, that's a 50% discount from what they normally charge. If a patient doesn't have insurance, the doctor gives a 50% discount. And of course, that would include, the exam, the cleaning, the fluoride, any x-rays they may need.
Okay. I'll call back and schedule an appointment.
Okay, feel free, ma'am. Feel free to ask for me. My name is Kristen. I'll be more than happy to help you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You're welcome.
Bye.
All right, so, on this call, I would have turned the focus a little bit more on the reason for her call. Is this the first time that the 4-year-old has been to the dentist? Is there pain? Is there, a certain concern that the parent has? Certainly with children, we want to make sure that they're building great dental habits early on. And so setting that urgency with mom is definitely the way that, I would go on this call. And then, just like we talked about, finding out what that need is, what has prompted her call. Once you know what has prompted the call, that really gives you a great chance to serve that patient, serve them well, take care of their concerns, and certainly to get them in to see how amazing your practice is.
These are all great tips. So for this particular callback, once again, you don't have the mom's name or the child's name for that matter. How would you handle a callback for this one?
Well, it is a little bit more difficult when you don't know the name, but it would sound something like this. Good morning, ma'am. My name is Al Marie. I'm calling from Smile 123. I know that you called the office about your 4-year-old, and after we hung up, I was a little concerned about what has prompted the call. Is he in pain? Is he experiencing, something that's out of the ordinary? What we want to do is make sure that we take care of him as quickly as possible and give him a great experience. We all know that, those dental habits come from great experiences, especially when they're small. So we have providers who love to see children, and we have a facility that we think that your child will enjoy. We have appointments available. I've got tomorrow at 10 a.m. or 3 p.m., which would work best for you.
And Marie, this is something that you and I have talked about previously. When a caller asks how much, sometimes the receptionist can feel like that's off-putting. That all the patient cares about is the cost and that they're price shopping. But as you and I talked about, it's a pretty legitimate concern for a lot of people. And when we hear them say, how much is that going to cost? It's kind of an indicator to us that they want to make sure that they come prepared for that. And our job is to talk about how we have multiple ways to make it affordable so it can fit into their family budget.
Absolutely. And, that's one of the instances where I believe giving the caller too much information can confuse them. And so, what worked best for me was to focus on how amazing our doctors were, how they would love our facility, and that we have many ways to make sure, just like you said, that treatment is going to be affordable, and that we have a treatment coordinator that is specifically trained to make sure that happens, to sit down with that patient, make sure that they understand the treatment, what the treatment entails, and how together we're going to work together to make sure that it's affordable for that patient.
Fantastic tips. Do you want to go on to the next call?
Smile 123. This is Susan. How can I help you?
Hi, I've got a question.
Sure.
I want to get my upper top, you know, the assisted dentures with the implants.
Uh-huh.
Is there any ballpark pricing I can look at? I know you got to pull them and make impressions, and it's a year process roughly.
Yeah, roughly. You're right about that. Yep. So, yeah, you're looking to do something like that. There's different options so that when you set up your consultation, we can go over those. You're looking at $15,000, $17,000, or $22,000, or even $24,000, just depending on what you really want and what material we use for the restoration. So yeah, we can get.
Is that just for the upper?
Yes, just for one arch.
15,000, 17, or 22,000.
Yep. It just depends on, like there's a removable, like you said, like the denture, or for a couple thousand more, you can get something that's fixed in there and you don't have to worry about taking it in and out. It's screwed onto the implants, and it's a fixed restoration.
So you don't have to take it out to clean it?
Exactly. You don't have to take it out to clean. You use a water pick, and it's so close on your ridge, that you don't really have a problem with it getting yucky or anything. We have examples and photos and the actual restoration we can show you.
So the starting price, the bottom of the barrel, so to speak, is $15,000 though?
That's right, with implants, yes.
And that includes extractions, everything, bone graft?
That includes everything, yes.
Okay, well, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
So this is a great example of what I mean by giving the patient too much information. I think that the doctor is best to, describe the procedure and the choices that the patient may have. As a receptionist, it's our job to feature our practice, feature our doctors, let that patient know that, we would be so happy to bring him in for a complimentary consultation. A person has to be a candidate for an implant. So that would have been a great direction to take with this caller, rather than to put out those prices that are obviously, very large. You would want the doctor to explain the benefits and the reason why that procedure is costly, but the benefit that that patient is going to have. So this is, one of those times where I feel like giving too much information can confuse the patient and sort of scare them off. And so I would have, focused on what were his issues. Is he having trouble eating? I would focus on those things, get the information, what has prompted his call, so that I would know how to best serve him.
Yeah, if you were making this call back, this, he sounded a little irritated, not to mention a little taken aback by the pricing. How would you handle the call back for this particular person? Because sometimes we have some of the dental practice team members that we work with feel intimidated about making that call back and trying to recover from maybe how somebody had phrased it on the first phone call.
Absolutely. If it were my call, it would sound something like this. Hello, sir. My name is Al Marie. I'm calling from Smile 123. I know you called the practice about an hour ago asking some questions about assisted dentures. And I know that she was able to give you some prices. However, what the doctor would like to do would be to bring you in for a complimentary consultation, and let's go over your areas of concern and figure out what treatment is going to fit you best and, your budget best. And so, the doctor has some availability this afternoon and tomorrow morning, which would work best for you. And so that's really, I would let the doctor be the one to put the value on that treatment rather than me.
No, Maria, we have one dental practice that we work with that is having just amazing success with these follow-up calls. They're converting about 67% of the people they call back on the follow-up. And typically we see about a 22 to 25% recapture rate. So I had talked to the practice manager recently and just asked her for the secret of her success. And she was saying that they always make the call back on the same day. and try to win back that patient with that follow-up call. But she said sometimes, especially with bigger ticket items like this one would be, they're still not ready to commit, right? They still need time to think about it. So they use the follow-up feature that we have. Oh, thank you. So yeah, right there, where it says set a reminder for this follow-up. And she would then set a timer for 2 weeks away. And when you click submit follow-up after setting that, it will go ahead and send you the same call again at the date and time that you selected. And so that's kind of a reminder to her when that pops up again. Oh yeah, you know what? Let me call back that person. And hopefully on that follow-up call, they've gotten the patient's name, a little bit more details that she'll have put into notes. But then she'll follow up and she finds out that second touch point is really helpful for those big ticket items, Invisalign, implants, even actually root canals, things where somebody might be in pain, where they have now been living with it or they've been thinking about it. Maybe they even have tried calling other places, and now they know that they're going to go with the person that took the time to reach out to them to make sure that they're receiving the care that they need.
Sure. It's very telling for, the receptionist to reach back out to that patient. And certainly I agree, the quicker that you get back to that patient, the better your chances. Patients tend to continue looking through the phone book or continue their Google search. And so that's the reason that we send the reload alerts as quickly as we do, is because we know that the quicker we're able to get back to that patient, certainly the better our chances are to get them to schedule.
Excellent. We do have time for one more call.
Oh, perfect.
Good morning. Thanks for calling Smile 123. This is Susan. How can I help you?
Yes, Susan. Good morning. I'm calling because I went to my dentist yesterday and I was told that I need a crown, and it seems like insurance doesn't cover a crown, so it's going to be out of pocket. I was just calling to see if I could get a quote from another place about the cost.
Unfortunately, we don't have prices to give for it because you would have to come in and get an exam and some x-rays, and the doctor would then determine how much it is. I don't have prices that I can give you for that.
Do you have a range how much it usually costs out of pocket for a crown?
No, ma'am. I do not have any prices.
I understand, but do you have a range, between $500 and $2,000 or something like that?
Nope. They don't provide us with that information.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Bye.
This is one of those calls that when we listen to it, there's just a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. Mainly, the best thing to do is to let this patient know that you're so glad that they called, and that, she obviously was told somewhere else that the insurance wasn't going to cover a crown, but we would reassure that patient, listen, we're going to do a complimentary check of your insurance. We're going to make sure that we're able to maximize your benefits. And then, to also let that patient know that there are other ways to get the treatment taken care of, and stay in line with their budget. And so, that really should have been the focus of the conversation, getting the patient on the schedule, letting the patient know it's a great idea to get a second opinion, and just to assure that patient that we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that we maximize every benefit that she has on her policy.
And this is a caller who is clearly motivated. I mean, if she knows that she needs a crown, then obviously she's got tooth decay or something going on with a tooth that needs to be fixed. And so it would have been a great opportunity to also establish some rapport and just find out, once again, is there any discomfort, build some urgency around it, and let her know that it is a fantastic idea to get a second opinion. And we would love to have her come into our practice, meet our doctor, and so we can wow her with our patient care.
Yes, it seems that, this listening to that call makes you realize how important it is to establish that relationship with the patient very early on in the call. That's the main thing that, that I take away from this call. We really should have reached out and made, a connection with this patient for sure.
And in so many of these phone calls, right at the very beginning, callers typically will jump right into, do you take my insurance, or do you do this, or do you do that? And you can take control of the conversation again by, once again, introducing yourself again, asking them for their name, making it a personal connection, and really keeping the focus on why they called and having cost, insurance, and all of those other things to be secondary. Build the urgency around why they're calling you and how you can help them receive the treatment that they need.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, yes, please. This entire webinar has been recorded, and so we are going to be posting it on Patient Prism Academy. It will be down near the bottom of the homepage. And if you go down to a little bit further, right there under front office recommendations where it says challenging calls, that's where we will be going ahead and posting this video. We already have the one from last month posted there, and we'll continue to add to the series. If you go up just a tiny bit, Marie, to above the You Called the Right Place, right above that. Most popular quick tip videos. We had a question earlier today about, is there a way to watch some of these videos without having to wait for them to be attached to the Re-Engage Lost Opportunity Alert? And the answer is yes. So that button there where it says See All, that is a partial list of the quick tip videos that we have. So we have about 250 for front desk. This is just some of them. But down in the bottom of the right-hand column, you can see different things such as answering the question, what does it cost? Or what is a deep cleaning? Should they be calling for a second opinion on scaling and root planing? When the caller is emotional, when the caller is rude, when the concern is scheduling, even when the phone coverage is spotty and you're having trouble hearing them. There's different ways to be handling that situation. So this is just a partial list of some of them. And then of course, through our homepage and through the navigation on the left-hand side, you can reach so many other ones. So whether it's about insurance that you want to dive into, the Fred Joyal series is really amazing. The Front Office Team series is really incredible. We have more than 40 experts that have shared their knowledge with us, and all of their videos are here on Patient Prism Academy. So at this point, I'd like to say thank you very much for joining us today. We will be going ahead and adding this recording to Patient Prism Academy, and it will be uploaded by the end of the week. Thank you so much.